Why successful millionaire investors never sell. Most people think wealth is built by buying low and selling high, but successful millionaire investors know the real game. Never sell, ever. How's it going, everyone? My name is John Howard, and I've kind of been doing mostly videos on real estate lately. I actually have videos as well on credit, as well as investing and adventure travel, stuff like that. But lately, last bunch of content has actually been on real estate. And today's video, we're going to go into the subject of really successful millionaire investors and what happens. And the reality is that many of them don't sell. And there's the whole kind of buy, borrow, die. Today's not a video on buy, borrow, die, but I will be covering some of buy, borrow, die soon. So here's why successful millionaire investors never sell. When we sell an asset for a profit, these things happen. We trigger a tax event. We reset our compounding clock and give up decades of cash flow, leverage, appreciation, and amortization, aka our wealth engine, right? Successful millionaire investors don't usually sell their wealth, their winner assets. They borrow against appreciating assets to access liquidity tax-free while keeping their equity compounding. A $200,000 capital gain could cost $30,000 to $50,000 depending on the state, right? This is an extreme amount of capital to give away when you're actually building your assets. Keys to long-term equity building. Borrowed money isn't taxable income. So, if you want to go get a HELOC on a property that you own that's an investment property, or you want to go get an equity loan on it, you want to go get a home equity agreement, an HEE, which is actually not even any monthly payments. Those are a little expensive, right? Wall Street's taking about 20%. Wall Street's probably going to start taking more than 20% on their HEEs because they're taking a hit with housing going down. Here we are, it's, pretty much the end of 2025, right? So again, borrowed money is not taxable income. Interest is also due, so the interest that you pay on that borrowed money is then even deductible against other income, right? So our best winners will serve us if they continue compounding. We maintain cash flow long term. So here's a real estate example. We purchase a $400,000 property. I call it an SMTR, short mid-term rental, right? With $80,000 down. 4 years later, it's worth $300K and generates $30,000 a year in cash flow. Not rental income, cash flow, right? Many investors, may sell, pay $30,000 in taxes and start over with $190,000 in fresh capital. But the successful millionaire investor refinances or gets a home equity financing. It could be really three things, right? Home equity line of credit, a home equity loan, or home equity agreement, which is cash and you don't pay any, interest payments, monthly payments. The new funds fund the next property. Now the investor owns two appreciating assets generating cash flow. No tax event, no resetting the compound clock. Selling for a profit may feel like winning, but it's really the moment that we lose. Every sale cuts off decades of cash flow, appreciation, loan pay down, tax advantages, and equity we can borrow from. We're not taking profits, we're stopping compounding. Successful millionaire investors don't usually sell their winners. They extract equity through strategic HELOCs, other loans, or home equity agreements, and they let cash flow, leverage, appreciation, amortization, and reinvestment build their equity. Life-changing equity or wealth isn't actually built by flipping assets. It's usually built by never letting go, because winners compounding is usually the strongest force. Even with stocks, I actually experienced this as my Netflix shares. I bought Netflix actually starting back in 2011 and really increased my position up in 2012 to about 25 to 30% of my portfolio, which really wasn't that much. I mean, at the time, right, it was like probably about $25,000 to $30,000. But if you actually do the math to what was the 52-week high this year, it was actually worth about, had I been able to hang on to it all and not sell any of it, it would be worth about $3 million, right? So, but the reality is that there was dips, and there was this huge dip in Netflix in 2022, which I had margin and I had to sell, and then I also sold it to do a real estate project. So it just didn't, I just wasn't able to keep it all. But by using it to make real estate investments and holding margin during 2022, I was forced to sell, pretty much a lot of it or most of it, right? The difference with real estate is that we actually have amortization, and that's something that we don't have with brokerage accounts. I mean, that's something I thought about a lot. It's like, that's what's kind of cool about it, is real estate, appreciates over time. When the values fall, it can really significantly affect the values, right? But you're paying that loan down over time. In fact, I wonder why brokerage accounts don't do that. It would actually be really smart if brokerage accounts would have amortization factored in, so that you're always paying down any sort of margin balance that you have. Everybody, I've been doing, again, videos on real estate. For the last bunch of videos, actually for the last many videos, I'm going to plan to do some credit videos again. But the reason I've been doing, real estate videos is because, it's a great investment. In fact, I think maybe one of the best investments, out there. And over the last 20 years, literally since 2005, I've done short and midterm furnished rentals, like literally 2 decades. And during that time, I actually launched, owned, and operated 4 different businesses that all went up to 7 figures or more per year. And I say that because, that's, my experience. And it's probably generated about $20 million in that process of revenue, right? But the reason I say it is because it's very doable for somebody to build, a real estate portfolio, investment property portfolio, alongside of a busy career, right? Or in my case, a busy entrepreneurial career. Somebody else might be a surgeon, or some sort of very demanding career, and they can build that the real estate portfolio alongside of it. In fact, if you are a high income earner, you're going to be the best positioned to actually to build that real estate portfolio, because you're going to actually be best to qualify for that mortgage. Now, if you are not a high income earner, you can still do it. You just need to get partners, and you're going to have to get a little bit more creative with your financing. It can still be done. I've done, acquired properties when my credit wasn't great and didn't really have the money. I needed to actually have partners when I did it, right? But you can still do it. So anyway, when it comes to the businesses that I did, over 20 years, 4 different businesses, I mean, the reality is I actually did not have an exit with my non-real estate businesses. I actually have sold properties over the years, and I've done some development and built some houses and flipped some houses, but I never exited my non-real estate businesses. And the reason I say that is because I held onto my properties, right? At least the furnished rentals. I mean, even though I did do a flip or whatever, that was more than 20 years ago in Santa Monica, and then the other was like a development project where the whole purpose of it was to sell it. But the majority of properties that I've focused on, I've held them for a long time, and that's actually served me very well, because fast forward to now, they generate between 10 to 38,000 on average per month, with multiple months in a year where it's more than 20,000 per month in actually booking revenue. And it's basically it's really 3 properties, and then the third is a partial interest. But their values, I mean, it's here in California, so they're pretty high, like a total of about $3 million. And I actually have mortgages of 2.875% on them. So very, very attractive. So in any case, as you kind of navigate through life, at least for me, it's been very beneficial to hold on to those properties and then build that asset base, right? One reason it's a good investment too is because you actually get multiple benefits when you purchase real estate. You get rental income and cash flow. You get appreciation. National appreciation is 4.24%, 1965 to 2024. In fact, if you look at the Case-Shiller Index, that's actually 1995 to 2025, that was actually 309%, which if you really factor in a 10% down payment, that's really a 3,090%, which actually beats Warren Buffett, the S&P 500, and the NASDAQ, because both of those were actually around, Warren Buffett and the NASDAQ were like 2,000. So you're beating Warren Buffett by like literally 10x over 30 years. Then there's tax benefits, which is the third. You actually get the ability to borrow, from your equity, to hopefully acquire more properties. And then you also get the beauty of amortization, which I think is actually one of the best benefits, because it's guaranteed, right? It's guaranteed you're guaranteed to pay your loan down. And you're also guaranteed to spend a lot of money to exist in this world. So, And then, your the other benefit, which I don't really hear people talk about a lot, is the ability to actually move back into the property. So if you're somebody in your 20s or 30s, like let's say you're really young, I think it's a great opportunity to, and even 40s, it's fine, to actually start acquiring investment property, because you could, get a 30-year mortgage and then you pay that off in 30 years. And then now you have a property to move back into that's actually paid off. And that's a pretty important thing. And people are, people are living longer. So, and you might not want to work past something like 65 or something like that, right? So you do get a lot of benefits from it, which is great. If you are interested in real estate investing and you want to do something similar to what I've done, you can check out the links. I've got something called the SMTR Launch Kit, which stands for Short and Medium Term Furnished Rentals. SMTR Launch Kit. You'll see that in there in the links below. Very, very economical, very inexpensive. I'm actually only charging $9 for it right now. I also have some very basic and economical email coaching. I'm only going to be doing the email coaching for a little bit until I have to do like a group or something like that. But yeah, so you can go check out those links. If you actually know somebody, you can forward them this video that wants to get into real estate investing. If you have any questions, put them in the comments area below. But I do plan to do more of the whole buy, borrow, die sequence of videos. Thank you very much.